This is QTV News. I am Umudu Gajaga and thanks for joining us. First, our main local business and international news headlines. In the local news, the body of Nyamina West MP Honorable Demba Sow laid in state at the National Assembly chambers as hundreds of mourners, including the Vice President, pay their last respect. The Supreme Islamic Council is the biggest enemy to Imam Bakausu Fofana. Not my words, but words of his brother Omar Fofana while testifying at the TRRC. Addressing illegal fishing and protecting our regional waters, we hear about plans by the National Association of Artisanal Fisheries Operators and regional stakeholders. In international news, a big divorce is set for the 31st of January. The UK's 47 years of membership in the European Union officially end at midnight. Welcome and thanks for joining us. This is QTV News. Now, the local news in detail. Hundreds of mourners, including the Vice President on Friday, gathered at the National Assembly to pay their last respects to the late Honorable Demba Sow of Nyamina West. Aliou Cissé attended the sober occasion and he now reports.
Considering the fact that CRR is one of the biggest regions in the Gambia, is your ministry considering establishing order kill centers in the region?
Certainly, there are plans afoot to establish skill centers.
This was Honorable Demba Sow seeking answers from the Minister of Higher Education about the ministry's plans to build skill centers in his constituency. A somber occasion it was as relatives, friends, senior government officials, political leaders, supporters of Gambia Democratic Congress Party and National Assembly members gathered at the National Assembly in Banjul to pay their last respect to the late Honorable Demba Sow of Nyamina West. Honorable Sow died in Casablanca, Morocco on 24th January 2020 at the age of 40 while on a private visit. He had served as MP under the GDC party from April 2017 to his demise. He had served in several parliamentary committees as well. Speaker of the National Assembly, Mariam Jack Denton, remembers Honorable Sow as a very respectful, humble, honest and dedicated MP.
As we say goodbye and pay our last respects to Honorable Demba Sow, we thank him for his service to the nation and the National Assembly in particular. We join the Sow family to mourn and pray for him. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive and grant Honorable Sow the highest place in Jannatul Firdaus.
A tearful Keba K. Barrow, member for Combo South and majority leader, said Honorable Sow was someone very interested in the welfare of his people. He thanked the government of Adama Barrow for the quick repatriation of the dead body.
All his questions from April 2017 to the last sitting of the National Assembly is to ensure that there is availability of clean water for the vulnerable members of Nyamina West and also by extension for all the people of this country.
Deputizing for the Secretary General and leader of the GDC party, where Demba Sow was a strong member, Mamadou Pateba, Chairman Party Advisory Council GDC, described the demise of Sow as a great loss for the party and the country.
With the advent of the GDC party in 2016, Honorable Sow joined the party and has since then been one of the party's strongest pillars.
Described as a man of the people, one of his many friends, Yero Jallo, said the late Demba Sow was not only his friend but a brother, who he had shared a lot with. Demba Sow, he said, had used his political career to impact positively on the lives of the people. Samba Gajigo, on behalf of the Sow family, said Demba Sow was a source of inspiration for the family, who will spend anything he had to make the family happy.
He was a loving, caring, and extremely supportive person. He did everything he could and even spent his last dalasi to make sure that his family was kept happy and comfortable.
The Gambia's Vice President, Dr. Aïssa Touré, said Demba Sow had served the country with honor and pride.
President of the Republic, His Excellency Adama Barrow,
is equally devastated by this sad development and has offered his condolences to the Honorable Speaker and members of the National Assembly, and as well as the Gambia Democratic Congress and the family of the late Honorable Demba Sow. Madam Speaker, those of us who follow proceedings of the National Assembly are aware that the late Honorable Demba Sow was indeed a giant for the Gambia Democratic Congress, a passionate Democrat and an exceptional parliamentarian who was respected across both sides of the National Assembly with his wonderful tone of phrase, witty comments, and incisive mind.
Honorable Demba Sow is gone, but the parliament will miss someone who was a friend to all and will freely express his views during sessions. Reporting for QTV News, I am Aliou Cissé.
The brother to Imam Bakausu Fofana on Thursday testified at the Truth, Reconciliation and Reparations Commission. Omar Fofana accused the Supreme Islamic Council of being responsible for his brother's exile. Babukar C has been monitoring and he now reports.
Omar Fofana, a brother to Bakausu Fofana, told the Truth Commission that his brother had large followers in the Gambia and outside the country, which many became jealous of, including the Supreme Islamic Council. According to Omar, Bakausu is not happy with the way the Supreme Islamic Council deal with the dates and issues regarding the Eid prayers and Ramadan. This was why Bakausu observed Eid on the dates deemed right. He said Imam Bakausu was invited by the Supreme Islamic Council for a meeting during which he was issued a letter indicating that he should not preach again in the country. That meeting was conducted in the presence of security agents.
All these cassette dealers and these recording studios, whoever sells your cassette, he will see himself at a place where he never liked. And you, Bakausu yourself, Gambia here, during Yaya Jammeh's rule, you will never preach in any mosque here. You will not attend any Islamic conferences. Even in your own compound, if there is a naming ceremony, you will not speak there.
Omar Fofana said his brother Bakausu Fofana wrote a letter to the ex-president Yaya Jammeh complaining about what transpired in the meeting and asking for permission to meet Jammeh. Permission was granted and Bakausu and the Supreme Islamic Council met the ex-president to dialogue. During that meeting, Omar accused Imam Fati of State House Mosque of telling Jammeh that Bakausu has insulted the president's tribe. Imam Fati also told Jammeh that Bakausu has spoken against musical festival organized by the president. According to Omar, this was what Jammeh said at the meeting.
He was wearing a shoe like this, shoes like this, the Marrakesh type of shoes. He told Bakausu that this shoe is even nearer to Allah than you, Bakausu. He told Bakausu that you are nothing to Allah. If you can do anything, then try and escape from here.
Omar said the former president later told the gathering that he will personally deal with Bakausu if he misbehaves again. After all this, Bakausu still maintained practicing what he believes in. He never observed Eid when announced by the Supreme Islamic Council unless he sees the moon. Both Omar and Bakausu were arrested on the 18th of May 2012 and taken to Bambadinka. He said Bakausu was released after 9 days with a broken finger and signs of torture all over his body. Omar said Bakausu told him that he was severely beaten at night whilst being filmed on camera. Months later, Omar said Yankuba Baji came to arrest Bakausu again, but this time the Imam disappeared and he was never arrested. This was how Bakausu left the Gambia and settled in exile in Casamance. Babukar C, QTV News.
A forum to establish a national platform of known state actors in fisheries and aquaculture in the Gambia was organized on Wednesday by the National Association of Artisanal Fisheries Operators in collaboration with West African known state actors in fisheries and aquaculture. Ajibintu Drame has more details.
The establishment of a national platform of non-state actors in fisheries and aquaculture, OneSafa, was recommended during the Conference of African Ministries of Fisheries and Aquaculture in Malabo 2014, in which the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, were tasked to ensure its establishment at regional, national and continental levels. Gausu Gay, the president of West African Non-State Actors in Fisheries and Aquaculture, WANSAFA, says it should be everyone's responsibility to protect the regional's water and avoid any foreign invasion. He further adds that the associations should come together and discuss how to protect the fisheries sector. Mr. Gay further talked about the need to have proper training and implement new measures to control the ocean.
Soppakatu jën yi, mareyeurs yi, ONG yi ak société civile ñooñu dajaloo def benn plateforme bu ñu defee plateforme comme ça waxtaan ak ñoom.
In order to achieve our aim, we must bring together fishermen, civil society organizations and fishmongers to discuss ways to protect the sea. The countries that explore our fish are not part of ECOWAS. They have fish in their sea before. Do you think if we lack fish, they will allow us to fish in their seas?
Celestin Bukem, key expert administration and finance, ECOWAS, emphasized that the need to speak in one voice is essential. He adds that there are measures put in place to regulate and address illegal fishing in the region.
We have the mandate to fight against what we call IUU, that is illegal and reported and illegal fishing. So we are going to receive equipment from European Union to track all those people who are fishing without authorization in the region sea.
Omar S.M. Jiba, Deputy Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Fisheries, says that fisheries operators should take ownership of the region's seas. He adds that this action is to protect the future generation and ensure that better practices are maintained.
We are there to manage. Our responsibility is to come up with the policies that would guard and sustainably manage these resources for the benefit of the seventh generation yet to be born. We owe it to ourselves.
Fatu P. Choi, a participant and a member of the National Association of Artisanal Fisheries Operators, talked on the difficulties they face in the fisheries industry.
Right now,
there is scarcity of fish in the country compared to before. Sometimes the fishermen will rather sell it to the Chinese than to us. Sometimes they sell it to us at higher price. We should stop this practice. Fish was once the cheapest source of protein in the Gambia compared to meat. With the exploitation of our seas, the narrative is beginning to change. The National Association of Artisanal Fisheries Operators, NAFO, and the West African Non-State Actors in Fisheries and Aquaculture aims to ensure food safety, safeguard the West African region's seas, and create employment opportunities to alleviate poverty. Ajibuntu Drame, QTV News.
The TRRC's Reparations Committee, in partnership with International Center for Transitional Justice and partners, recently organized a stakeholders meeting with the theme, What Reparations for Victims of the Dictatorship in the Gambia? Amadou Oba has more details.
The meeting consists of experts from within and outside the country to discuss the Reparations Regulations Policy for the Truth, Reconciliation and Reparations Commission. Mrs. Adele Sose, Vice Chairwoman and Head of the Reparations Committee, expresses gratitude to the International Center for Transitional Justice, ICTJ, for being supportive in the process. She stresses that reparations regulations is one of the instruments to guide the granting of reparations to victims. Mrs. Sose described the meeting as an important milestone in the development of the reparations regulations.
Specifically, this meeting will give you, the victims, and civil society organizations the opportunity to discuss the policy and the regulations on reparations proposed by the TRRC before submitting it to the Ministry of Justice. The discussions will focus on issues of victims' registration, general perceptions about the reparations, which we've already succinctly had from Seinabu, and reparation measures that are responsive to victims' needs, the implementation mechanisms that will reflect the victims' contextual realities in different parts of the country, and the role of the victims and the CSOs in the implementation of reparations.
Ruben Carranza, head of the Reparations Unit at the International Center for Transitional Justice, says the ICTJ works for justice in countries that have endured massive human rights violations on the repression and in conflict. He says reparation regulations play a pivotal role in acknowledging and addressing the sufferings of victims in every transitional justice.
Reparations serve to acknowledge the right of the victims as citizens to repair the consequences of violations and express to victims and society that the state is committed to addressing the root causes of past violations and ensuring non-recurrence.
Zainab Lo Balde, speaking on behalf of the victims, says their biggest challenge is meeting victims' demands and access to reparations. She further says that the victims have a right to defend their own reparations based on their experiences and therefore wants to be part of the decision-making processes.
Sentences and punishment that match the crime committed. No reduced sentence are acceptable. The gravest criminals should face the most serious available punishment. No amnesty for bodily harm and no amnesty for person acting upon others. Regardless of apology or signs of remorse, they have still taken a life, and serious crimes require serious sufferings. Perpetrators have a human right and should receive, therefore, fair treatment before the law, but they still need to face justice, even if they are also victims. If amnesty is being considered, victims should be consulted, and the government must execute recommendations without fear or favor.
The Proficient meeting will provide a technical forum to facilitate dialogue with stakeholders and increase a wider discussion around reparation regulations that will ensure victims are informed and consulted before decisions are made towards alleged perpetrators. Reporting for QTV News, I am Amadou Oba.
A one-day advocacy forum for women of KMC on the significance of women's participation in decision-making was organized on Tuesday by the Women's Bureau under the Ministry of Women's Affairs in collaboration with the Kanifing Municipal Council. Bintu Koko reports.
Participation of women in the smooth and proper development process is indispensable, especially a country like Gambia, which has a huge number of women as a human resource. The objective of the Advocacy Dialogue Forum is to strengthen capacity knowledge and awareness of the local governance structure of women participation and representation in decision-making process at all levels of development. Fatoumata Cissé, Program Officer KMC Women's Bureau, highlights the importance of women participation in decision-making, saying that women are underrepresented. Binem Marong, Women Councillor at KMC, says that women are faced with a lot of challenges.
We've seen that women are left behind, especially at our political ground. We don't see women participating. The 30% we are talking about, we are not seeing it, and we definitely want to see that happen. A woman should be holding a responsibility position, in decision-making position, and coming out, speaking for themselves, not to let somebody speak for them.
Nene Toure, Assistant Director of Information, Communication and Education at Women's Bureau, said that no nation can develop without women's participation, giving statistics of women representation.
It is heartbreaking to realize that 54% of the voters in this country are women. And in the 2017 elections, out of 54 National Assembly members, only 3 came through the ballot box, and 3 were nominated. Out of 17 cabinet ministers, only 4 are women. And out of 120 elected local government officials, only 8 are women. And another fact is that out of 1,778 alcalos, we have only 8 female alcalos.
Bakari Jawo, the Deputy CEO of KMC, says, under the leadership of Lord Mayor, significant steps have been taken to provide the adequate tools for women to develop themselves.
Still at the level of council, not long ago, we make sure that we make sure that the Reliance Bank, together with other stakeholders, presented over 100 million to the women to help them empower themselves. And right now that project also is underway. All this is geared to make sure that decisions not only in their family homes, but also in the business life in the country, as KM is the economic citadel of this country.
A balanced participation by women and men in decision-making is a precondition for improving the function of democracy. Bintu Koka, QTV News.
We will go with a short commercial break, and when we return, a big divorce. Brexit is finally happening at midnight on the 31st of January. Join us after the break for these stories and sports.
Oh yes! QCell has exhausted the number 3 series, the 50, 51, 52 and 53 number series. We are expanding and introducing another new number series, starting with 58 and 59. With the 58 and 59 numbers, you can call any QCell number for the same on-net charges. You get the same great service at the exact same charges offered to numbers in the 3, 50, 51, 52 and 53 series. The family is even bigger now. For more information, call customer care on 111. QCell, we innovate, others follow.
Standard Chartered brings you festive cheer this season. It's the season of giving, and we have some amazing gifts to boost your festive mood. You definitely will be spending more on family and friends this season. So, we have some wonderful offers and discounted rates to take care of all your financial needs. Talk to us about how you can enjoy the best from our loans and overdrafts. We know you want to shop more and eat out with your loved ones. So, get access to exciting discounts from your favorite stores and restaurants with our world-class Visa debit cards. Get a Standard Chartered Visa Platinum on Gold debit card for free and enjoy a world of privileges here in the Gambia and abroad. Access more funds and enjoy the good life with Standard Chartered. Call us on 392-5951, 420-2275, 352-7714, or visit any of our branches today. After all, 'tis the season of festive cheer, so live your best life on us this season and spread the cheer. Standard Chartered, here for good.
In international news, the UK's 47 years of membership in the European Union officially end at midnight on the 31st of January. UK citizens will no longer be EU citizens but can continue to move freely, work and study in the EU, while EU nationals in the UK have the same rights. Constitutionally and legally, the Article 50 processes the withdrawal from the EU is sealed and irreversible. The only way back into the bloc for the UK is to apply to rejoin. The UK will enter into an 11-month transition period, which could be extended if both sides agree. Prime Minister Boris Johnson, however, has reportedly ruled that out. The UK will not be allowed to sign trade deals with other countries until the transition period is over. Now, joining me for the sports news is Aliou Cisse. Aliou, what's up for Gambia's under-20 women's team tomorrow against Burkina Faso?
Thank you very much, Gajaga. It is barely less than 24 hours before the Gambian national women under-20 team will host their counterparts from Burkina Faso for the return leg of the first phase of the qualifiers for the FIFA Under-20 World Cup. The two teams will lock horns tomorrow at the Independence Stadium in Bakau, and the GFF has announced that entrance to the game is absolutely free. My colleague Amadou Oba visited the two teams where they had the final training this evening, and he spoke to both coaches and the captains.
Our expectation for tomorrow's game is for us to qualify to the next stage, which we have been working for since our arrival from Burkina Faso. We've been working very hard towards this game. And the players that I have confidence in them, and I hope, if they perform to expectation, we will definitely get what we want to achieve. For us, it was good that we have 2 vital away goals. Now it's up to our fans to come and reply with equal force. We want the fans to come out, cheer these goals for tomorrow, so we can achieve what we want as a team.
We're so much prepared, and we're hoping for victory, inshallah.
We can see everything as all right. We travel from Burkina Faso to here. It's so far, and we didn't training since 2 days, and today we training for free up for tomorrow, and I think everything will got all right. Yeah.
We prepare very well our match, and we are here to win our match tomorrow.
Well, Gajaga, that's all we have for the sports news for today.
Yeah, but just before we sign out, Aliu, it appears Burkina Faso is a familiar opponent for Gambia, and up next, I understand if they proceed this stage, they are going to meet Nigeria, who are also familiar opponents. Any chances tomorrow?
Indeed, there are chances, going by the fact that the Gambia lost 3-2 in the first leg in Burkina Faso. Even with a minor one win against Burkina Faso, the team will proceed. But then a big opponent awaits the Gambia or Burkina Faso in the second phase, which is, of course, Nigeria. So there's a chance that the Gambia can qualify and make it to the second round of the qualifiers. But hey, anything is possible in football.
Thank you very much, Aliu Cisse, and we wish the best of luck to the women's Scorpions tomorrow in their match against Burkina Faso. Before we end this bulletin of the news, let's take a quick look at our main news stories. In local news, Nyamina West MP Honorable Demba Sow laid in state at the National Assembly chambers as hundreds of mourners, including the Vice President, pay their last respects. The Supreme Islamic Council is the biggest enemy of Imam Bakausu Fofana. Not my words, but the words of his own brother, Omar Fofana, while testifying at the TRRC. Addressing illegal fishing and protecting our regional waters, we heard about plans by the National Association of Artisanal Fisheries Operators and regional stakeholders. In international news, a big divorce is set for January 31st. The UK's 47 years of membership in the European Union officially end at midnight. That's all we have for you in this edition of the news. Join us tomorrow for more news and have a pleasant night.